What's going on, Wiz Nation? Coming back at you guys with another episode of State of the Wizards, episode 12. I'm Dcan along with my co-host, Kjose. What's going on, my man?
None of much, man. Nothing much at all. How's things going with you?
Good, man. It's been a long time since we did our last episode. I think we were 2-0 the last time we covered State of the
Right.
Wizards. A lot has happened since then. We're going to jump right into it tonight.
Right.
So,
All right.
yeah. I mean, no need to even hesitate, So right
Oh
now,
no. Mm-mm.
right now we're 5-3,
Right.
right? So, and for you guys out there who just subscribed to State of the Wizards for the first time, thank you. Please follow State of the Wizards at State of the Wizards on Twitter, State of the Wizards. Subscribe on YouTube. Also subscribe to Wiz Takes on Apple, Patreon, Spotify. Follow me at Wizards Mafia on Twitter. Also, plug it in.
Follow me on at DC Hoopla. Go ahead and follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, like, share, and subscribe at DC Hoopla. Follow me on IG as well as Twitter under the same name, DC Hoopla.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to it, man. A lot of chatter, a lot of
Absolutely.
talk since the last loss. We were 5-1.
Right.
You and I, we were very, very surprised early with the start. You and I, from the
Right.
beginning, has said that this team could do big things. 5-1 was very surprising. Wes Unseld Jr. has demanded a lot from this team. And I think it's safe to say through the first 6 games, every game was different, right? So, you look at the Toronto Raptors games, both of those games were different from the outcome in Toronto versus, last game. And, right now the way the Wizards are playing, it looks like we kind of got lost from what Wes Unseld originally wanted this team to do. We wanted to be a defensive-oriented team. We wanted to be a team that could, score with the best of them, right? So we went 5-1, and then over the last couple of games, we lost those games. The most recent game that we lost was against the Raptors, which was last night. So tell me or give me your take on last night's loss and tell me the direction you think that this Wizards team is headed in.
Well, one of the things I will have to say is the last 2 losses we had were from teams that we played last week. We played the Raptors the first game. We beat the hell out of them. But last night, the Raptors actually were watching that game, it was like watching a Floyd Mayweather fight, where Floyd Mayweather, when he's fighting, he's a defensive boxer, and he goes 12 rounds. So in other words, the Raptors was Floyd Mayweather, and we were whoever Floyd Mayweather's opponent were, but we were just getting an ass whooping for 12 rounds. No matter what punches we threw, no matter what we tried to get to the Toronto Raptors, Van Fleet was always hitting us with a nice, good punch.
Right.
So one thing I do want to say, because I know the chatter that I saw was a lot of people talking about the referees. And in that particular sequence, the no-call goaltending, as well as the tech on Corey Kispert, that changed the momentum of the game, but that wasn't one of the reasons why we lost the game. Because the Toronto Raptors went to the free throw line less than we did. We actually went to the free throw line more than they did.
Speak on that.
So I'm not going to sit here and blame the referees. They played a small part in it with that sequence. But at the end of the day, we went to the free throw line much more than they did.
We did.
And what the problem was is that we shot 32 three-point attempts and made 8 of them and finished out with 25% to them shooting 10 for 25 and finishing at 40%.
Right. So
that's clearly where we lost the game at, and we shot 43% throughout the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, we shot well from free throw. We shot 80%. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I think we're ranked second in the league in free throws.
Yes.
So, we've been hitting our free throw shots. Bradley Beal right now is at 100%. He hasn't missed a free throw all season.
Exactly.
I think Dinwiddie's at 100%. There's a couple of players on this team who's shooting 100% from free throws. So we're making our free throws. The issue that I see is that we're not making our 3-point shots.
Exactly.
We're not making our layups. We're blowing layups. Last night you saw Denny blow a couple of bunnies.
Yeah, that's true.
And shooting 43% from the field wasn't too bad because Toronto shot 46% from the field. So it wasn't like, they was, on fire all game. But what I do see is I see that, they did hit, they hit their 3-point shots. They didn't take as many 3-point shots, so they weren't taking as many bad shots. They didn't turn the ball over as much as we did.
Right.
For the most part, if you look at the stat sheet,
it's really the 3-point percentage. That's the
it.
discrepancy.
That's the only difference.
3-point shot.
So it was a winnable ball game. It was a very winnable ball game. We could have won that game.
Right.
It's not like this team played a really bad game. But what did you notice? And we've talked about this, and this has happened over the last 2 games, at least. Because the first 5 games, or the first 6 games, I was right. First 5 games, we went 4-1. We had Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was struggling. We played more as a cohesive unit, the first 5 games. And then over the last, when we went 5-1, over these last 2 games, the last 2 losses against the Hawks and against the Raptors, it looks like that cohesiveness is gone. What do you think is the issue that you see with why certain guys aren't getting as involved as they were the first 5 games of the season?
Simple question, simple answer. We're going back to playing Beal ball. We got guys standing around watching Bradley Beal do work. And actually, when I was looking at the numbers,
which I agree,
it kind of started even before these last 2 losses. It kind of started building up from when we played against the when we played against the Hawks the first time.
But we were 3-1. We were 3-1.
It started building up during that time period. I'm going to say this:
who was out that game? Somebody was out, right?
Yeah.
Who?
Spencer Dinwiddie was.
Okay.
He was out against the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
So and that's when we beat them at home. He was out.
Okay.
So it started during that time period. It really, in my opinion, it actually started when we beat the Pacers the first time. Mm-hmm. It kind of slowly started because in that game, Bradley Beal didn't play.
Okay.
Spencer Dinwiddie took 24 shot attempts that game. That was the game he scored 34 points. The very next game, when Bradley Beal is back, Spencer Dinwiddie only took 13 shots. That was against the Brooklyn Nets. You know how many shots Bradley Beal put up? 22. He went 8 for 22. So the Beal ball started in that Nets game, and it's been building up ever since then. And then we're seeing it in these last 2 losses because now it's trickled down to where the supporting cast is not even getting involved. Montrezl Harrell averages 10 shots a game, but the last 2 games, he's averaged under 10 field goal shot attempts.
So what do we mean by Beal ball? So let me explain it.
Please.
So the usage rating of Bradley Beal is extremely high. All right.
Agree.
Bradley Beal averages a usage rating right now. I think it's at a career high, 35% usage rating.
Isn't he leading the league in usage?
Yeah, I believe so. Because Steph Curry's usage rating is, I think, 32%. But Bradley Beal last season was at 33%. This year, he's at 35%. So what we mean by Beal ball, over the last 2 games, the usage rating of Bradley Beal has gone up. We weren't using, he wasn't being utilized, and we didn't use Bradley Beal as much the first, 4 games of the season because Bradley Beal was struggling. So we ran the offense differently. Okay. It wasn't just stand around and watch Bradley Beal go to work, watch Bradley Beal put up shots. It was actually swing the ball, get the next man involved. There was other players actively getting involved in the game. So you didn't have a lot of standing around. All right. over these last two games. Now, even though we had the assist number go up against Atlanta, because mind you, even in the first four games, we were still ranked 26th in the league in assists. All right. So we weren't,
Right.
it wasn't like we was doing a great job assisting anyway. But the point is that other guys was getting involved. Second chance points. You had Harold come in, grab them offensive rebounds. You had Gafford on the boards. That was important, right? So it wasn't just, hey, let me grab the rebound and kick it back out so Bradley Beal can go to work. It's let me grab the rebound and go back up, immediately, follow the shot, or, hey, I got the rebound, Kuzma's open. Boom, Kuzma hits a three. Or, boom, KCP's open. KCP shoots. You see what I'm saying? So everyone is playing their part on the basketball court. Mind you, Bradley Beal played with the first and second unit the first couple of games in the season. So he was out there with even Trez. He was out there with Trez in the second unit through the first couple of games in the season, and he was struggling. He wasn't hitting his shot.
Yeah.
He shot 30% from the field, 19% from three. All right. And we were still winning these ball games. Why? Because everyone else was doing their part.
Was involved.
Everybody else was
involved.
Right. So the game that you were talking about where Dinwiddie shot the most shot attempts, Beal was out that game. But everyone was playing as a collective unit at that time. We won the game.
Right.
We won the game.
Exactly.
But
Dinwiddie took over that game as well.
Right. So then wasn't it the very next game Dinwiddie sat out? Which game was it that Dinwiddie was out?
It wasn't. Dinwiddie sat out against the Hawks.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah, the first
when we played him at home.
Right. Okay.
That's the game he sat out.
Right. So Dinwiddie sat out that game. All right. When Dinwiddie was out, Bradley Beal was asked to step up.
Yep.
In my opinion, that's when the offense changed.
Right.
Because, and granted, Beal had a great game. He finished with 27, 8, and 8 that game.
Mm-hmm.
So one turnover. He played a flawless game. You know what I mean? So you couldn't blame him for having a great game. He just had a great game. You got to give him kudos for that. But we fell in love with that idea. At that very moment in time, that's when the switch back to Beal ball happened.
Beal ball.
Right. That's when Beal ball happened. And then because that was the first Hawks game.
Talk about the second time he played against the Hawks. How did he do in that game?
So wait a minute, because I'm gonna make another point. So against Boston, right? That game, Bradley Beal shot the ball 32 times.
Right.
Dinwiddie came back. So think about that. Think about the first game against Atlanta without Dinwiddie. Beal shot the ball 26 times.
Right.
When we played Boston the first time, Bradley Beal shot the ball 25 times.
Right. And Dinwiddie shot the ball 16 times in that game.
Right, but Dinwiddie at that point was still, he was involved, right? So anyway, let me stay on topic. Beal ball was at that point, that was the focus. Bradley Beal was struggling. So let's get to the fact that, hey, this team operates around Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has to get those numbers up. He's got to bring those numbers up, and he's done that over the last two games. But in the process of trying to get Beal back to form, where he's taking, bad 3-point jump shots.
Right.
Beal's he's definitely he's attacking more. He's bringing that 30% shooting field goal percentage up. He's bringing that up. I believe he only brought his 3-point percentage up a little bit.
Not by much, right?
Not by much. But in the process of Beal getting back to Beal, the rest of the team
suffered.
So we have to pick and choose which one we want, because when Beal struggles and he was shooting really bad from the field, you had the team playing as a collective. When Beal now gets back to Beal ball, everyone else is falling back. And that's what you're seeing out of this team right now.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we mean when we say Beal ball. That's what people don't understand. People think we're just like criticizing the idea of it. It's literally philosophy. It's a formula that the Wizards organization has been running these last several years under Scott Brooks. And this system has just transferred over into Wes Unseld Jr.
Right. I 1000% agree. I mean, when we played the Hawks, that we just lost that game recently, Beal played 34 minutes, finished with 24, 3 assists, 2 boards, 10 for 21 from the field. But that was his worst game this season because he was a negative 19. He had 4 turnovers that game, and he shot 3 for 11 from the field. I mean, from 3-point range.
Right.
Spencer Dinwiddie played 28 minutes, had 14 points, 10 assists. He had 5 boards, shot 5 for 11. His shot attempts has decreased because we're playing Beal ball. He went 1 for 5 from 3, not good. He only had 1 turnover, and he was a plus 12. So how is it that one member of your backcourt has a bad game as a minus 19, and the other member of the backcourt is a plus 12? Like, if you look at it, Spencer Dinwiddie actually kind of played an all-around game, but he shot 11 attempts. That's right. Because Spencer Dinwiddie picks and chooses the shots that he's going to take. Now, yesterday, he only had 8 shot attempts. Beal had 18. He finished with 25. Spencer Dinwiddie only finished with 12. And Spencer Dinwiddie only had 3 assists. Beal had 7 assists and 7 rebounds. He shot a slight bit better from 3-point range, 2 for 5, but so did Spencer Dinwiddie. The thing is, the Beal ball philosophy cannot work because Montrezl Harrell's shot attempts has gone down. Kyle Kuzma's shot attempts started going down. KCP's shot attempts started going down. The supporting cast where everybody was praising last week, now these guys are not being effective. And now I'm starting to hear, oh, well, these guys are not stepping up. Well, which one is it? Last week you was praising these guys. Now you're saying these guys are not stepping up. So we tell you why these guys are not stepping up. Then you say, oh, well, you guys are making excuses. It's not that philosophy. Bill is, what else is he supposed to do? Trust your damn teammates. That's
Trust your teammates.
You can't say that we got enough, but then at the same time, you're looking away from your teammates.
Right.
They're here to help you.
Right.
So this philosophy of, well, give the ball to Beal and let him work. How many times in clutch moments, Beal is trying to make a play and the ball is stripped from him? He's turning the ball over, or he takes a bad 3-point shot.
Well, this
philosophy doesn't work.
Well, the thing is like, that's why Spencer Dinwiddie's on the team. Spencer Dinwiddie should be able to help you take that pressure off down the stretch. Like through the first couple of games, right, Spencer Dinwiddie was hitting the big shot, either to take the lead or to tie the game up. Spencer Dinwiddie took that shot.
Right.
Okay, so, out of 8 games, Spencer Dinwiddie's already hit 3 clutch baskets down the stretch for the Washington Wizards that ended ultimately in wins.
Right.
So why is he not, getting more involved now in the last 2 losses? Everyone's speculating it could be injuries. Maybe he's not 100% healthy. I don't buy that.
It ain't that, brother.
No, it ain't. It can't possibly.
It ain't his injuries. The man told us that before the season started, not to cut you off, that he's 100% healthy. So it's not his injuries. It's that he's not being involved in the offense. Beal is not, he's not trusting him to do that. When you look at these numbers, man, I would rather for Spencer Dinwiddie to shoot the 3-point shot than Bradley Beal. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie shoot 37.8%. Beal is only shooting 24%. He's shooting 24.5%, man. I mean, I don't want Bradley Beal to take that shot. So when you're looking at the numbers, KCP shooting 36.8. You got Aaron Holiday shooting 50. Now he's probably not taking that many attempts, and Davis Bertans is struggling. But the key is, man, what made Bradley Beal so successful in the past is when he was a spot up 3-point shooter. Let me just get to the truth of the matter, because I'm gonna just cut all that point.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Bradley Beal actually missed having John Wall. I'm gonna just call it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have John Wall where Bradley Beal can stand in that corner and get that open 3 ball like he used to. The drive and kick was our identity, and we went away from that since we traded Wall away. And if you think about it, that's the reason why Davis Bertans can't be effective, because he will be more effective in the drive and kick. We don't have that.
Yeah.
So now what's happening is some of these supporting cast players, now they have to actually try to create a shot, when some of these guys, really, that's not their responsibility. I don't think KCP can really create a shot off the dribble. He's supposed to be more of somebody drives, kick the ball out to him, he gets that wide open 3. Now he has to do a little bit more and try to create a shot, and it kind of takes him out of rhythm. And then if he can't get a shot off, then what is he doing? He's going to pass the ball to Bill, and he's going to stand and watch Bill while he's dribbling the ball all the way down to the end of the shot clock, and he puts up a bad shot. The Bill ball doesn't work, and because of the fact that we have players that are shooters, because I keep seeing people saying, well, we need more shooters. Well, how many more shooters do we need? We got more than enough. We just don't have somebody that can drive, make that defense suck in, and then they kick it out to the open 3-point shooter like we used to. That is truly our identity when it comes down to offense.
Well,
not this Bill ball.
Well, it definitely is. That was an identity that worked because of the skill set of John Wall specifically. And then last season with Russell Westbrook, you kind of had that same dynamic, but we weren't playing that way because, Scott Brooks enabled a system where Bradley Beal was playing one-on-one. Primarily him and Russell Westbrook were playing one-on-one. So it wasn't any type of design a design system that gives, Bill the opportunity to pick his spot on the floor and Russell Westbrook go find him. Like, that's not the type of system that it was. But this season, what I'm seeing, man, is, okay, just last week, when we were 4-1, okay, we were ranked top 10 offense in the league. We were top 10 in field goals made. Okay, we were top 15 in field goal percentage. I remember 14 or 15 in field goal percentage. Now we're ranked 17th in field goals made, and we're ranked 20th in field goal percentage. And this was just last week when we were 4-1. A week later, we're ranking, we're falling down, as a team. And the only thing I can think of is because other guys, like we've talked about, has decided to take a step back, while we're, not getting everyone else involved. And I get it. People are saying, well, look at the assist numbers, right? The assist numbers actually improved over the last couple of games, where we were ranked 26th in assists just last week. This week, we're ranked 24th. So everyone's saying, well, we were never really getting everyone involved. Well, that's not true. Like, second chance points is huge. For somebody like Gafford, where you're not calling his number, when he's crashing the boards and he's going right back up with that shot, those are big. Whenever we're, getting a steal on the defensive end, we're turning defense into offense. That's points. That's points. So we're finding other ways to score the basketball, not just assists. Right now, you don't see that cohesiveness, is what I'm saying, on this team right now. You're not seeing that. You're seeing
Right.
a bunch of guys, almost looks like at this point we're mid-season form and we're 5-3. We have a winning record, and it looks like some of these guys are already tired.
I'm not gonna say that these guys are already tired.
It
I'm,
looks
I'm
like
just.
that.
It looks like it, but what it really is these guys are just not being involved. And and also too, teams already got the blueprint on how to
To
defend
stop.
us
Right.
and how they are able to stop us. They pack the paint and they're daring us to shoot the three ball. I mean, when you look at the stats, man, we're averaging 33 3-point attempts a game. 33. We're ranked 22nd, and we're averaging 33 as a team a game. We're actually only making 10 of our 3-point shots, but our opponent is actually they're taking less 3-point attempts than we are, and they're second. They're hitting their shots. So we fell in love with shooting threes. I cringe when I see us shoot so many 3-point attempts, and I don't understand why we're doing this.
Well, it's reverting back to bad
It's
basketball.
reverting back. It's reverting what we saw last season.
We
We
literally just talked about this. Like bad basketball is, you're not setting up plays for guys to make themselves available in the offense. Like you're
right.
not doing that. All you're doing is, I think Wes Unseld stressed that we would make sure that it wasn't just about one pass shoot. Isn't that something he said?
And we're starting to see one pass shoot.
And we're seeing one pass shoot. Wes
So
Unseld
that's bad
Jr.
behaviors.
Right,
That's a bad
exactly,
behavior that we're reverting
exactly,
back to. And
exactly.
I remember I said that to you during the preseason games when you was asking me about it. I said, man, I think some guys have bought in and some guys haven't bought into what Wes Unseld Jr. is doing. We're reverting back to bad basketball where guys are kind of like doing whatever. Like now we're not even paying attention to detail anymore like we were last week. We kind of get to this point of, well, I'm just going to go out there and get mine. And what I'm seeing from Bradley Beal is now he's focused on, well, I want to be an MVP. So that's why his usage rate is going up. His shot attempts is going up because he got MVP on his mind. Now, this is just me, but I think he probably saw where Montrezl Harrell was on the MVP tracker and his name wasn't on the MVP tracker. And then that's when the whole Bill ball and the whole
Mm,
MVP attack kicked in right after
mm,
that. That's just
okay.
me. But them two supposed to be cool. But if you notice,
Hmm,
Bradley Bill's focus has changed to where I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get mine. So when
right,
people say, well, why is Spencer Dinwiddie standing around? Well, he's watching Bradley Beal try to become this MVP, but we're losing ball games while he's trying to do this. This is a formula that is not successful.
right, right. So just going back and just stressing, like, first of all, that was a good point. Um, like, I never thought about that because what's important to Bradley Beal is that he is continuing to be that all-star level player that the Wizards expect him to be, especially coming up on a super duper max contract. So,
Exactly.
so that does bother him if he's looking at the list and he doesn't see his name. He's already said that he expects or he wants to be in the MVP. That's his next goal. His next
Exactly.
goal is to be the MVP. So, you know, imagine that. You see one of your teammates' names on that list, but you don't see your name on that list and you're the franchise guy. That's got to make you feel some type of way.
Oh, yeah, especially if that teammate is coming off the bench. I mean,
Right. But
I mean
but
that
look,
says a lot, right?
but it worked. But that's the thing. So what? It works. It works. And that's the point, right? The point is that if if your teammates shine other than you and we're winning ball games, that's all that should matter. That's all that should matter.
Exactly.
Again, you
Exactly.
struggled. You were shooting your worst percentage of your career, and we were still 4-1. We were still winning ball games. You know?
But that
So
didn't sit well with him, my dude.
I mean, I look, probably I'm pretty sure it didn't sit well with him. And he had to make sure he got his numbers up. 19 sitting at 19 points per game
Let me
wasn't him.
Well, let me say this, dude. Matter of fact, the game that Bradley Beal didn't play against the Pacers, I didn't see that game because I was working a night shift at my job. But when I saw the highlights and I was looking on Twitter, the fans was yelling MVP when Montrezl Harrell was at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
That had to bother him, man. Montrezl Harrell being they're hollering MVP for Montrezl Harrell. Look at his stats. He's putting
Right.
up 18 points, averaging almost 10 boards a game. His rebounds actually went down, but he's averaging 9.9. He's shooting 60% from the field goal.
Yeah.
60%. A lot of that, of
Yeah.
course, is off of dunks and plays that's being created for
And
him.
he's shooting well from free throw.
He's shooting 83.3% from the free throw line. I mean, those
He's
are
averaging a double
MVP
double.
those are MVP caliber type numbers, and
They
he's
are.
averaging a block a game.
They
So
are. Yep.
so what if he's in the MVP track? It's well deserving. But if you
Absolutely.
think about it, that's when the
Facts.
switch came on, and that's when Bradley Beal decided, oh hell no, I need to be that guy because he is coming up on a super duper max. He's trying to prove that he is the superstar that he truly believes that he is, and that the organization is telling us fans that he is, but the numbers don't add up.
So let's talk about something, and I'll come out of this. You said you said earlier that you believe that Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley Beal couldn't play together.
Right.
Expound on that for our viewers.
So the reason why we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier and due to the state of the Wizards, but the reason why I said that those two players can't play together, let's just look at the game from yesterday. Spencer Dinwiddie played 30 minutes, Beal played 38. Spencer Dinwiddie finished out with 12 points. Beal's finished out with 25. Spencer Dinwiddie only put up 8 shots. Beal put up 10 more than he did. He put up 18 shots. They both were even when it comes down to 3 points. But what really stands out is when these two guys are not on the court at the same time, when they don't play, the result shows. When Bradley Beal missed that game against the Pacers, Spencer Dinwiddie had his best game as a Wizard. 34 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds,
Okay.
6 for 9 from 3-point range,
Okay.
a
Yep.
+3,
Wow. Wow.
a +3.
That's a career game for him.
That's a career game, and Bill
Right.
didn't play that game.
Right. So he stood
But
out when Bill wasn't there.
he stood out when Bill wasn't there.
Okay, I
Here's
follow
another
you.
example. Here's another example. This is when
Okay.
Bill is on the court.
Mm-hmm.
This is when he's on the court. Spencer Dinwiddie against the Raptors. The first time we played him, he had 13, 6, 4, shot 4 for 10.
Mm-hmm.
He finished with a +1.
Mm-hmm.
Bill finished, he actually shot 7 for 19. This was Bill's best game of the season because he finished with a +24. But
Mm-hmm.
Bill had 23 points, 3 rebounds. He went 1 for 6 from downtown. He had 4 turnovers. But we won that game. But Bill played this type of game right here is what Bradley Beal used to do when John Wall was his point guard.
Right.
This is the Bradley Beal that we need, or
Yeah,
better
because
yet,
how many shot attempts did he take?
he had 19. I think that was a little
Exactly.
bit too many, but he still
No, no,
had
no.
19. But he shot
That's
pretty good from the
perfect.
field.
That's perfect.
That's
Like
perfect for him.
I'm
Here's
good with
another
Bradley Beal
perfect.
taking between 17 and 19 shots a game. I'm good with that.
I'm good with that too. So, but with Spencer Dinwiddie, we look at the Celtics game that they both played together the first time. Spencer Dinwiddie played 29 minutes. He had 22 points, 3. He shot 16 attempts. He went 8 for 16. He was a -2. He shot 2 for 5. Bill played 35 minutes. He had 17 points, 2 assists, 10 rebounds. Not a bad game for Bill. A good game, solid game. He had 35 minutes, 7 out of 25. Way too many shot attempts. He went 0 for 6.
Mm-hmm.
He had 5 turnovers. Amazing that he was finished out with a 0 in the plus minus because, he had 5 turnovers in that game.
Right. How many assists did he have?
He had 2 assists, but he had 10 boards.
Okay.
But when you look at games like the Hawks, the second time we played him, Spencer Dinwiddie played 28 minutes, 14 points, 10 assists, 5 boards. Bill played 34 minutes, 24 points, 3 assists, 2 boards. Bill shot 10 for 21, and he was a -19 that game. Spencer Dinwiddie was a +12.
Wow.
A
Wow.
plus 12 in that game.
So Spencer Dinwiddie has been more efficient on the floor with Bill than Bill's been on the floor with Dinwiddie.
Right. And Spencer Dinwiddie is deferring more so than anything.
Right. That's a
So,
fact.
but
That's a
Spencer
fact.
Dinwiddie, he's deferring more so than anything. So here's what people have to realize. When Spencer Dinwiddie was playing in Brooklyn, he was the guy in Brooklyn. When it came down to making the key bucket, it was Spencer Dinwiddie. He
Right.
did it to us when he played for the Pistons. He used to
Right.
murder us.
Right.
Now he's in Washington, and
And
there are
he's
people
deferring
who are
his game.
saying before the season start, they're saying, well, you know what? I think he can put up 20 and 17. How is he going to be able to put up 20 and 17 if he's deferring his game? If
Right.
now you're seeing
Bill's
him
taking
passing
those
the ball
shots.
to Bill and he's standing around watching.
Right. Bill's taking
So
those shots.
so
Yeah.
they can't play together. They
Okay.
can't play
Okay.
together
All right.
because Spencer Dinwiddie is like he's even though he's here, he's been told that you are here to help Bradley Beal. So
Hmm.
it's still Bradley Beal first, and then you come second. So
Right.
Spencer Dinwiddie is not really trying to step on his toes. The
Right.
only time Spencer Dinwiddie is going to take the game over is if Bradley Beal is not on the court.
Or Bradley Bill's struggling, and he's been
Or
struggling
if he's
all game.
struggling, he's going to
Right.
take the game over. But there
Right.
are some situations when he should take the game over when Bradley Beal maybe goes down and turn the ball over 2 times or takes 2 bad 3-point shots. That's when Spencer Dinwiddie should take over. I'm going to use this as an example, and I'll let you say what you got to say. Let's talk about the Pistons, the mid-2000 Pistons. Chauncey Billups used to pretty much get his teammates involved. Then in that fourth quarter, that's when Chauncey Billups decided, hey, okay, now it's time for me to close up. Rip, you got your points. Ben Wallace, I got you to get a couple of points. Tayshaun, you got yours. Hey, John Barry, you hit a couple of clutch threes. Now it's time for me to close the game out. That's what I expect from Spencer Dinwiddie, but that's not what's being told to him. What's being told to him is, at all costs, give the ball to Bradley Beal. If you got the shot, wasn't it last night that Spencer Dinwiddie passed up an open 3-point shot that he normally would have taken?
Yeah,
I
he
believe it
did
was
that.
last game.
Well, he did that, and plus, there was a point in the game, late in the game. We're trying to claw our way back. We had a critical turnover in the game because after the timeout, we drew up a play for Bradley Beal, and we spent 20 seconds in the shot clock trying to find Bradley Beal, and we ended up turning the ball over. So instead of Spencer Dinwiddie
Right.
making a play or Harold making a play or KCP making a play, we were too busy waiting for Bill to come off of a pick, off of a screen, and get him the ball. We ended up turning the ball over, and that resulted in Toronto scoring on the other end, which at that point,
Right.
put the game, further out of reach. But here's my thing, because based off of what you just said, right? Now, of course, I'm not all the way there where you are. You and I have talked about this offline already. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you raised some very good points. Like, you know, I think it's still a little premature, but I follow you because my thing is Dinwiddie hasn't been able to play his game. So it's almost like he's
Right.
uncomfortable in the system that requires him to defer, where he didn't have to do that in Brooklyn.
Exactly.
So you're
Exactly.
onto something there. But here's where I'm at. Do you think that it could be more of just a balancing act that this team is having a problem with right now when it comes down to Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kuzma, KCP, Harold, Gafford? Do you see this being more of a balancing act issue than anything else?
It can be. I think what we're kind of dealing with right now is we're kind of back into where we're having an identity crisis. We can't figure out what brand of basketball we want to play. So what we're doing is what we got now is some players who were on this team last season. Well, really only one player is doing this. One player is I'm going to revert to what I know, and which that is Bradley Beal dominating the basketball. So now the team is going through an identity crisis because our identity was supposed to be we're going to be a defensive minded team. We're going to be scrappy. We're going to pretty much, pester the hell out of the offensive team, the offensive team, the opponent. Now we're not doing those things anymore. Now we're kind of reverting to okay, well we're going to go out there and shoot. I think I heard. I think it was it might have been Justin Kushner when Howell Nettle was in the game. He said, "Oh, Howell Nettle got the rebound. He's ready to run." So now that's going back to what we used to do last year when you used to say all the time, "Hey, it's all about possessions when it comes down to Westbrook." So some players are trying to revert back to what's more comfortable with them. So we're kind of going through an identity crisis where there are some players that are uncomfortable with this new style because it's accountability that's being held on them.
Well, an identity
So
crisis,
now we got to figure out.
we just trying to figure out who we are? An
Yeah, I
identity
mean,
crisis, or
it's
we just trying to figure
pretty
out
much
our
that's what it is.
because
We're
that's
trying to
what
figure out what our identity is, but
right.
we're trying to figure the identity has been told to us by the coach, but now it's like we pretty much forgot where our identity is, and we're kind of just going to say, well, you know what, I'm gonna go with what I know.
So Chase Hughes put out a tweet earlier today that said that the game coming up on Friday is a concern for Wes Unseld Jr. because he has cited defending the paint has been a big area of concern for him. The Wizards are 28th and
Mm-hmm.
opposition points in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Their next three opponents, the Grizzlies, they're fourth in the league in points in the paint. Ja Morant is first among players, tied at 16 points per game in the paint. Bucks, Giannis, obviously, fourth among players with 14 points per game in the paint. And then the Cavs. The Cavs are seventh in the league with points in the paint. What do you think? What's your take on that being a concern? And before, again, we're 28th in the league at defending the paint.
Which is crazy in itself, but yeah. Um, Here's what I think. It's a very good concern, but what I think, like against the Grizzlies, we played them last season and they swept us. And the Grizzlies, they know how to slow down Bradley Beal. They know how to contain him. But when we talk about
Well, it's
points in
only
the
one
paint,
guy. Only one guy.
only one guy.
Let's be for real. It's only one guy over there that knows how to guard Bradley Beal, and he
Well, it's
guards him
one
very
guy, and
well.
I don't even know if he's going to be playing tomorrow night, which is Dylan Brooks. But Ja Morant plays a John Wall style type of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Ja Morant is going to get into that paint. He's a leaper. And Ja Morant is going to command attention once he's driving to that basket.
Right.
You know, I don't know what Jaren Jackson Jr. is actually doing. I guess he must be doing a little bit better.
Oh yeah, he's hitting him. He's killing from the outside and the inside.
And that's right. Valanciunas is on that team, right?
Yeah.
So he's another person that, and we know him very well when he used to play for the Raptors and used to give us fits. So that's where they're going to get a lot of their points. But because of the kind of attention that Ja Morant demands, we're going to get beat in the paint. So when you go to the Milwaukee, I mean, come on, man, we're talking about Giannis. We're talking about a two-time MVP. He's a problem within itself. And as far as the Cavaliers, I'm kind of surprised, but then maybe not because you got Jaren Allen, who Spencer Dinwiddie is very familiar with being so their former teammates. I'm gonna say this, man. We could possibly be one game below 500 after we play the Cavs. So then we have to revisit was last week fool's gold? Did we kind of peak too early or what?
All
But
right.
again, we got, like I said, to kind of go back and I'll, let you say what you say. Again, we lost our identity and now we're kind of trying to figure out what kind of team we want to be. And obviously we were controlling the paint and now we done lost control of the paint points.
So everything you said was, in my opinion, spot on. Right now we are 20th in the league in field goals made, right? Memphis is 18th.
Right.
So I feel like this can be a close game for the most part. The issue is we're 25th guarding the three-point line. So think about this. If we're having trouble, if we're 28th in the league and guarding the paint, we're going to have guys sag off their perimeter. The perimeter. We're gonna have guys sag off the perimeter just to help out in the paint defensively.
Yeah.
And we don't guard the 3-point line well at all.
We haven't for a while.
And here's the thing. Memphis shoots 36% from three, and they're 8th in the league in 3-point percentage. So it could be ugly tomorrow night. It could get very, very ugly because we can't guard the paint and we can't guard the three-point line. And my thing is this went really bad very quickly. Because just a week ago, again, We were top 10 in defense, and we were top 10 in offense. And just in the span of two games, we are already at the bottom of the league in guarding the paint and guarding the perimeter. All right. So we are 25th in the league. We are 25th in the league, in 3-point shots made. So we don't shoot the three as well as Memphis. Memphis shoots it at a very high clip at 36%. But they don't shoot but 44% as a team. So if they don't hit their threes tomorrow night, we actually might have a chance to win. So
well, that's very true. It's a winnable game based off of that, but
they're very they're a team that gets everyone involved. They're 5th in the league in assists. All right, they're 11th in the league in blocks. Okay. 3rd in the league in steals.
Oh.
All right, we're 23rd in the league in steals. But the upside is that we're 6th in the league in blocks. So there is a good possibility that we do guard the paint very well tomorrow, and we're forcing Memphis what teams do to us, pack the paint and try and hope that Memphis starts missing their 3-point shots. And
I'm pretty sure. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say if that's the case, then we have a good shot. Let's pull up those stats again real quick, because I don't know if I was 100% accurate on that on those stats about us guarding the 3-point line. Something tells me we're better than that, because I could have sworn a week ago when I checked, we were much better at guarding the 3-point line than I thought. So let's pull that up real quick. Okay. All right. So there we go. Opponent rank. So we're actually 2nd in the league.
Okay.
So actually we defend the 3-point line very well.
Right.
Based off of that, right?
Is that right? Because it says team rank, we're 22nd. So
opponent rank, we're 2nd.
So we actually shoot the 3 better than our opponent, which ain't but much, because it's like 31.9%, and our opponent shoots at 30%. Well, that number is about to change.
Yeah. So, there is a good possibility if we're stopping Memphis from hitting their 3-point shots tomorrow, despite being, ranked 28th in the league and defending the paint, we could possibly win this game. I mean, I don't see why this game should be a huge hurdle for this team, especially if guys are knocking down their shots. But we have to do to them what teams do to us. Right.
What they do to us. And the thing is, against Memphis, I'm sure they already know that we're going to try to stop the 3 ball. So what they're probably hoping is that we do that. That way Memphis can just run and go into the paint and score. So what I think the strategy is going to be, because the focus is going to be on Ja Morant.
Yeah.
But that could probably be an issue for us, because what's that kid, Desmond Bane? I think people are kind of comparing him to being like the Bradley Beal, like during the time of John Wall era.
Yeah, because he's a spot-up shooter. I mean,
he's a spot-up shooter. So if
Ja
Morant drives to the basket and kicks out the Desmond Bane, and he's actually hitting the 3, then we got to start respecting the 3-point line and start guarding that. And what that does is that opens up the paint.
Right.
Which we're not defending. And then we have to keep in mind, I'm pretty sure the strategy is going to be to get Daniel Gafford out the game very quick, get him in foul trouble, get Montrezl Harrell in foul trouble, because our center position, we don't have depth there. And I don't know if Kyle Kuzma is playing tomorrow. So if he's not playing tomorrow, that's going to be another issue, because that's another body that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Davis Bertans. So now you're asking some of these other guys to step up. And then, of course, we don't have Rui Hachimura to fill in that void.
Yeah.
So other players are going to have to step up. Really, this is and here's what's getting ready to happen. We're going to see Bill ball tomorrow night because Bill is going to say, "Oh, I'm going to have to take it upon myself to win this ball game." And Spencer Dinwiddie probably might not do much because he's like, "Hey, I don't want to step on Bill's toes."
Well, hopefully Wes Unseld Jr. has, conveyed to the team that we just can't rely on Bradley Beal. Bradley Bill's going to get his points. But
Okay,
yeah, I mean,
I got something to say to that when you finish.
well, I was going to say, Bradley Bill's going to get his points. We shouldn't rely on Bradley Bill. The bottom line is that, be aggressive all night. The thing is, I hope Wes isn't drawing up plays because, in my opinion, if he's saying one thing to the team and then doing something totally different in game, like drawing up plays out of timeouts for Bradley Bill to shoot the ball, then that totally negates, telling the team to just make sure that they focus and play their game. Because I think that's a part of the problem. It may be mixed signals here.
Oh, it's
And
definitely mixed signals.
right, the mixed signals are, hey, Spencer, we want you to play your game. We want you to go out there and be aggressive. But late in games, after timeouts, hey, here's the play, Bill double screen, boom, catch the ball, go to work. That doesn't work for Spencer Dinwiddie.
No, it doesn't. I think the mixed signals is Wes Unseld Jr. is putting the plays out there, but when it goes out on the court, it's not executed the way he wants the plays to be done. That means somebody's taking it upon themselves to say, "Oh, scratch that. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this."
Mm-hmm.
So I read a tweet. Was it last night? I believe it was. It was where they said, is the message being told to Bradley Beal? And I think somebody said on the line of, it's probably being told to him, but he's not really listening to the message. Mind you, the organization is advertising him as the franchise player. He has $242 million coming to him come next offseason. It's kind of like it doesn't make a difference what Wes Unseld Jr. says this man. He's going to do whatever he feels needs to be done. So Wes Unseld Jr. draws up a play that's supposed to be meant for Spencer Dinwiddie. Bill is going to say, "Oh, hell no, scratch that. I'm going to take the shot if it's available. Screw about Spencer Dinwiddie." That's what the message is not being delivered. And the organization is not doing their due diligence to tell Bill, "Hey, look, he is the coach. Let him coach the team. If he draws a play up for somebody else, execute what he draws up." If the organization is looking the other way and say, "Hey, that's Bill, that's our guy.
Mm-hmm.
What he says goes," that's a problem.
Mm. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, there is a good possibility that, Bill's going rogue. We saw this before out of another player by the name of John Wall and Scott Brooks' system in 2017, where what didn't work for John Wall, he went outside of that system because everything was catered around Bradley Beal. And he said, hey, I'm just going to do me. For this sake, if Bill is doing that, we know that that's selfish basketball, and it's different. It's not the same as 2017, if that is the case.
Exactly.
Because one
Tell them
thing
why
I
it's
could,
not the same.
one, John Wall was a facilitator. He was a guy who got everyone involved. Bradley Beal is a guy who takes it upon himself to shoot more and try to do it all and carry the load when he has other teammates around him. So unlike 2017, where John Wall made sure that Bill ate, made sure that, Keith ate, made sure that Gortat ate, Bill's not doing that in the system. That's the difference. Like John Wall literally had his best career year in 2017 when he did it on both ends of the court. Okay, he was doing it offensively, facilitating, scoring the ball at a high rate. Bill, I think, had a career high that year in points. Him and Bill was the top two tandem in the league as far as steals a game. I think Beal and Wall at one time was averaging 2 steals a game.
Yeah.
Between the both of them at one time. So it's different. That's not this team. If Beal decides to go outside of this system, it's clearly going against Wes Unseld Jr.'s wishes. And those wishes are to make sure that every player on this team touches the ball in the offense and that they're taking full advantage of why they're in this system.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much that on that. The last topic I wanted to discuss was Tatum. What do you think about these crazy rumors about Tatum to DC?
Stop it. That's all I'm gonna say. Please stop it. We went down this path before with KD to DC. Stop it. Wiz Nation. Stop it. Stop it. I'm serious. Stop it. The Celtics are not gonna send Jason Tatum here. They're gonna want Bradley Beal to come to Boston.
Before they send Jason Tatum.
We don't have the assets to get Jason Tatum. I saw somebody say Rui and Dick. Stop it. Stop it. We just got finished watching ISO ball last season with Westbrook and Bradley Beal. And you guys want to watch it again with Tatum and Bradley Beal? What is the sense of urgency to put something really good on the basketball court, putting a superstar alongside of Bradley Beal, when we know that that formula is not going to work? Bradley Beal doesn't really want a superstar that's just as good as him or better than him playing alongside of him. So stop it. Stop this Tatum to DC. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Well, my thing is, man, people put these rumors out, and I mean, it's not even really rumors. It's just nonsense, really, because there's no validity to it. There's a couple people I follow on Twitter that posed as Celtics fans who said, hey, we want to trade Jason Tatum to the Wizards for Davies Bertans, and then there, it's just a full onslaught of trolling and jokes. And, the thing is there's no merit to Jason Tatum becoming a Wizard. There's absolutely none whatsoever.
Exactly.
It's just made up bogus BS. But this is my thing, man. Let's just say if Jason Tatum was to come here, people got to understand that still doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything because, the system is predicated around one player. And unless that player decides that he wants to start deferring his game, it will not change. And mind you, I have to remind people, last season, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal was also vying for leadership responsibilities.
That's true.
Okay. Russell Westbrook struggled early on as a Wizard because he was trying to find his role on this team. And it didn't come out until much later in the season where Bradley Beal said, hey, when Russell Westbrook speaks, you listen.
You listen. Exactly.
That almost gave Russell Westbrook the immediate keys to leading the basketball team. Okay. And then all of a sudden you saw an onslaught of games where Russell Westbrook was going on a tear of averaging, triple doubles left and right. Now, granted, he ended up eventually breaking the triple doubles record. That's history. When John Wall was here, same thing. John Wall always deferred his game to Beal. Yes, John Wall was aggressive, but there was a time where John Wall said, hey, I can't get it done without this guy. Okay? That was him deferring publicly and on the court to Bradley Beal, where he was basically saying, hey, look, I need Bradley Beal in order for us to be successful. So the thing is that, Bradley Beal has to say that. Bradley Beal has to be the guy now that says that he's willing to defer his game. He hasn't done that. That's the
And he's
thing, you
not
guys,
going to either.
and he's not going to. That's the thing you guys are failing to realize. You apologists, you guys who want to criticize me for constantly making these statements about Bradley Beal, y'all can suck it, straight up. You,
Hey, exactly.
you
I mean,
know,
here's the thing
I
too,
don't
just
know
to
if no kid, I
piggyback
don't
off
know if
of it.
kids is watching this. I don't know if kids is watching this,
I hope
but
not.
straight up, all
I
y'all.
hope not.
No, I mean, even if they, I mean, yeah, I hope not. Like, I don't want y'all, going back, telling your parents, you can, and you watch State of the Wizards. I don't want y'all doing that.
Yeah, we don't need Glenn Youngkin coming after us.
But y'all adults out there who constantly criticizing me because I'm constantly criticizing the system of Bill, the Bill ball,
It
not the
doesn't work.
actual individual. I mean, I ain't got no problem with Bill. I just got a problem with the fact
I don't
that
like his game.
exactly. I mean, the thing is I used to love Bill's game. He was a better player 5 seasons ago. He was a better 3-point shooter. He was a better spot up shooter. This new, don't get me wrong, I've always said, man, Bill would be great attacking the rim. I still say that. What do I say every time Bill attacks the rim, Kane? K Jose.
You give him credit for that. You give him credit
Exactly.
for it. We both give
Exactly.
him credit for it. We both
Exactly.
wanted Bill to be this way.
I wanted him
But
to
I guess
be.
it's one of those things. Well, I guess it's one of those things. It's kind of like be careful what you ask for. So we kind of created a monster that we're mad at right now. So here's what I will say. I'm with you when it comes out to the apologist that wants to make excuses, but Bill is not. The organization lets him do whatever he wants to do, and it's more so well, we're not going to try to do anything to make him feel uncomfortable. So if it means that we lose ball games, so be it, as long as Bradley Beal is happy. That's the reason why we didn't draft Chris Duarte. Chris Duarte, if he was here and the game that Bradley Beal didn't play and he put up 24, 25 points, that would have made Bill feel very uncomfortable that you got some young guy, a rookie, who's basically 4 years younger than him that can do exactly what he does. And then let's not forget, Bradley Beal has, Miss Kamaya Adams Beal on Twitter, and that's my boo, and oh, I love me some him, and this, that, and the third. When you got your number one, come on, I mean, you got your number one cheerleader on Twitter, and then you got Quentin Mayo posting, oh yeah, man, Bradley Beal just took a dump today. Why would he want to leave this organization when he got so much love from so many different places? So we can get frustrated with his game as much as we want to, but it's not changing if the organization is allowing it to happen. Right now, and I said this to you earlier offline, I'm going to say it to the people on State of the Wizards. This formula of this Bill ball, what's going to happen is Wes Unseld Jr. is not even going to finish. What he got? I think he got 4 years, right?
4 years.
He won't make it there because eventually the fans are going to start blaming him as to why we're losing ball games when clearly it's not his fault. Because I believe that plays are being drawn out by Wes Unseld Jr. and Bill thinking he's Tom Brady is changing them on the fly.
So you think he calling an audible at the line of scrimmage?
Absolutely. He's definitely calling an audible. I mean, you got to look at some of the plays and you say to yourself, like, man, I know that couldn't have been the play that we drew up.
Yeah, I mean,
do you think Wes Unseld is drawing up Bradley Beal driving to the basket only for the ball to be stolen from him and it results into a turnover? When you
my
at least
dude,
got four other guys that are wide open?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know because last game was a prime example of what I was saying when we came out of a timeout and we drew up a play specifically designed for Bradley Beal and we turned the ball over. That I don't know if that was on Beal. That didn't look like it was on Bill. It looked like that was the play that was drawn up.
I don't think that was on Bill. I don't
that
think
looked
that
like
was
that
on.
was the play that was drawn up.
I don't think it was on West.
I mean,
something that play you're talking about.
Who else would it have been on?
Talking about. Here's what I'm saying. That play you're talking about specifically. Somebody said on Twitter. They said Wes Unseld is calling the plays, but they don't believe he was the one that called that particular play.
They don't think he.
So take it for what it's worth. We're only speculating. They don't think he was. They say they don't think that's the play that he called. So that means that an audible was done.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know, but at the end of the day, the brand of basketball we're starting to play, that's not Wes Unseld saying, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and give the ball to Bradley Beal," because that will
No,
contradict
no,
everything he said in his press conference.
no, I totally agree. But what I'm saying is that there's a good possibility that Wes Unseld Jr. is simply drawing up these plays because right now you got guys willing to defer their games. So I think he's just I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's drawing up these
Okay.
plays for Bradley Beal because you got guys like Dinwiddie who's deferring his game. These guys are deferring their games, period. You know,
Okay,
you
so
just
stick
made
with
the
that
point
then.
earlier in this episode that Trez was top five or in MVP discussion, and then all of a sudden in the post game, Trez and Bradley Beal laughing it up, chuckling up. Trez makes statements about Bill being the leader. Why didn't Trez make the statement about him being the leader? You know, why didn't he say, "Sorry, Bill, but it's a new sheriff in town"? Like these guys
Well,
are deferring, man. That's
well,
what
Trez
this
did
is.
actually say that. He said Bill is not vocal. He said, but I'm gonna be vocal about it. He's the leader, and then I'm second. He actually did say that.
Okay, well, still, but my thing is like, see, that's one thing. That's why we have these conversations. Bill is slick in that regard because Bill gonna make sure he right there at the door listening to everything Trez is saying. Trez having career high games. Oh, here comes Bradley Bill. Boom, Bill pops up. Trez got to speak on behalf of the franchise guy, right? Because Bill's right there at the door, listening to everything that's being said. The game wasn't even about you, bro. You just had the worst shooting game of your career.
And you felt the need to step
And
in.
you felt the need to show up at the podium with the man who had the best game of his career. That's what I'm
Right.
saying, man. That's what I'm
Well,
saying. So I feel like Wes Unseld Jr. I feel like Wes Unseld Jr. is compelled to draw up these plays because guys are choosing to defer their games for Bradley Beal. It's almost
then
like
that's a,
a it's almost like a those things like you said Spencer Dinwiddie didn't want to step on Bradley Beal's toes. That's exactly what
yeah. I
it is.
mean, if you think about it, it started not because it started a couple of years ago. Who was doing all the Who was doing all the sucking up a couple of years ago? Thomas Bryant. He was doing the exact same thing,
Right,
sucking
right,
up to Bradley Beal. Now
right.
Thomas Bryant is not healthy; he's not playing. So who stepped in and took that role? Now it's now Montrezl Harrell. And if you remember when Thomas Bryant was sucking up to Bradley Beal looked for him on the court. He didn't look for everybody else. He made sure he looked for Thomas Bryant, just like he's making sure he looks for Montrezl Harrell because Montrezl Harrell is willing to be, his footrest for him. Hey, Bradley Beal, Montrez can get on all fours and Bradley Beal put his feet on his back to relax. That's what he's looking for, man. And
Yeah.
the thing is that people want to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie because eventually, they're going to talk about Kuz and KCP. These guys not performing and Danny not performing. These guys are like, you know what? It's his world. We just living in it. That's pretty much what it is now. These guys are now saying it's Bradley Beal's world. We just living in it now.
Well, I mean,
But that my dude is on the organization because they created this atmosphere. They are the ones who needs to be held accountable for that
right.
because they're allowing this to go on. And this is not a recipe for success because what's going to happen is Wes Unseld Jr. is going to be the one who's going to be blamed when we're not winning ball games when it clearly is not his fault. It's not his fault.
Right. Well, yeah.
This is probably the reason why he said his dad called him said, "Moron, what are you doing taking this, being the head coach of this team?" I mean, that's a topic for another day, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So the last thing, and I'll end it with this. You know, I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, the Bill apologists, y'all need to stop, man. For real, y'all need to cut it out. Me and Kjose, we not gonna stop just because y'all want to keep making excuses and apologizing.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if Bill has a bad game, you guys blame everybody else. All right. Y'all point to everybody else. Oh, well, what did we do here? If we lose the game, it's everybody else's fault. It ain't Bradley Bill's fault. Bradley Bill did what he was supposed to do, right? It ain't Bill's fault at all. It's everybody else's fault. Well, I'm noticing that this player didn't do this. I'm noticing this player didn't do that. Well, no, I mean, sure, they didn't, but neither did Bill. Bill can put up 40 and we still lose the game.
That's
That
fact.
doesn't mean that that's a recipe for success.
Exactly.
So, y'all need to stop this. Y'all need to cut that out. Flat out.
Exactly.
I don't care what you like or don't like about what I'm saying. You don't like it, you ain't gotta
So be it.
subscribe.
Yeah, unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. We got guys on
Unsubscribe.
here that like what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You see what I'm
And
saying?
for
So
I mean, and
I'm
the
not
thing
worried
is,
about that. What I'm talking about specifically, and I don't mean to cut you off. What I'm talking about specifically is you guys constantly. So when we win games, you want to credit Bill. You all
exactly.
on my timeline. Oh, where's Dcan at? Oh, this, that, and the third.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, here come the messages coming in. All of a sudden,
exactly.
I see y'all talking. Ain't heard from you all week. But when Bill has a good game,
You guys show up.
right. But when we lose,
You
Bill
guys
ain't shooting
disappear.
well, don't hear nothing from you. Oh, I know y'all, man. I know exactly who you are. And I'll call you out. I ain't got no problem, no shame in my game. You got my number, you know who you are. But
Exactly.
the point is that y'all need to cut this out because bottom
Exactly.
is I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep calling it out and I'm gonna call it like I see it. And at the end of the day, you guys said, even including Bill, that this team is gonna be a top 4, top 5 seed team in the East.
Because you're confident that they can be a top 4 seed in the East. Remember, somebody said they were confident.
Right. So therefore, if that's what you believe, I can only go off of what you believe. I can only go off of what the leader of the team says. So we're holding him to that. That's called
And we're holding
accountability.
you to that too.
Oh yeah, we holding you to that too because we holding you accountable.
We're holding
Straight
you
up.
accountable. That's what it's all about. DC accountability. Ain't it DC above all? It's DC accountability this year. That's what it's all about. I mean, right now I'm looking for some of the Bill supporters. They've been missing in action. I'm like, I'm literally I can find Waldo. I can't find these Bill apologists who sat there and said all this stuff. But I guarantee had we won yesterday, oh, they would have been flooding up the timeline.
Oh for
Posting,
sure.
oh, Bill's doing this, he's leading and
Oh
this,
for
that,
sure.
putting leader in the parentheses.
Oh for sure. For sure. I
But where
mean,
these
no
fools
doubt.
at right now? Nowhere to
No
be
doubt.
found.
No
Well, you
doubt.
know what? One is actually going to show up tomorrow night because we're playing against Ja Morant, but they're going to be praising Ja Morant more so than anything. They'll kind of flip back and forth, praising Morant, and then flipping him. When Bill makes a good play, but then oh shoot, Bill, trust your teammates. Bill, trust. No, bro, we know what you're doing. You trying to cover your tracks. At the end of the day, we ain't forget what you said. We know exactly what you're doing.
All right. Well, that concludes this episode of State of the Wiz. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out again, DC Hoopla at DC Hoopla on Twitter, Wiz Takes at Wizards Mafia on Twitter. I'm also on Patreon, Apple, Spotify, Wiz Takes Podcast. Check me out. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment at the bottom. We want to hear from you guys. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll check you guys on the next episode. Peace.